So today was the Packers and Bengals joint practice, and to start off this video, I'll show the fight that happened today at practice. Not too long ago, a fight broke out between the Packers and Bengals, and it came out here from Tom Silverstein that said, first fight of the Packers, Bengals practice, left guard Elton Jenkins dropped a Bengals linebacker, Jermaine Pratt, I think, on his butt on a screen. The linebacker sat down, shaking his head for a bit, then got up, approached Jenkins, and took a swing at him. Jenkins lunged at him, and it was on. So now let me show you a video of the scrum. It's sort of hard to see what's going on in the middle there, but it lasts for about 54 seconds, and this was posted by Ryan Wood, Packers reporter on Twitter. So let me just show this, and then I'll get into updates from practice as well, but I thought we would start off with this because pretty interesting, if you ask me. Here we go. All right, so that lasted about 54 seconds. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on in there, but according to Tom Silverstein, Packers reporter, Bengals linebacker took a swing at Elton Jenkins, which started all of that. And you could see guys flying around, getting tackled. The pile starts to move. And that's the thing with these joint practices. It's much harder to control both sides, I would say, than in an actual game because clearly there's consequences in games. In these joint practices, there's probably less risk of getting suspended if there is any risk at all. I don't know about that. So players are probably more likely to do things that they likely wouldn't do during a game. So gets physical between the Packers and the Bengals in this first practice here between the two. And now I want to show you some different updates, mainly on the Packers, but we'll touch on the Bengals as well when it comes to today's practice. It's not quite over, but it's getting close to being over soon. And so a majority of things have already happened there. And so let me pull up some different tweets from different reporters here and show you guys exactly what's going on, how Jordan Love was looking, things like that. So starting off here, I'll show you this tweet from Sam Monson, who said, second year in a row that the Bengals D has been suffocating another team's offense during joint scrimmages. Last year was the Rams. This year, Green Bay can barely get a first down. And that was posted pretty soon when the practice was getting going. And so at first, the Packers were having some trouble moving the ball, but it seemed to pick up a little bit as the practice went on. Then it comes out here from Ryan Wood saying, Jordan Love tried to hit Romeo Doubs deep down middle of field. Doubs got behind Bengals secondary, but Love's pass hung in the air too long, allowed the safety to close over and break up the pass. So Doubs is open there. He can't quite hit him there. And we've seen that from Love. He's had some really nice passes. He's had some not so nice passes, missed some guys as well. And I think that's something that you would expect from a young quarterback. And then here we have from Goodberry. Joe Goodberry said Van Ness beats Carmen inside again. So Lucas Van Ness was winning some reps today at practice. Packers, first round pick who I think could have a somewhat sizable role even in his first season here. And I'm excited to see his physicality. And, once week one comes around against the Bears, whether or not Rashawn Gary is playing probably will indicate how much Van Ness will play because Gary was recently taken off the PUP list and he's going to, we're going to have to see if Gary can go week one. And he was running around at this practice as well. I saw some clips, and he looks pretty solid. So we'll see if he goes week one. Then from here, Rob Domofsky says, Jordan Love goes 3 for 5 in first team period versus Bengals number 1 D. Best throw was a fade to fullback Henry Pearson, who juggled it, but not because it wasn't well placed. So 3 for 5. And same thing here from Ryan Wood, but a little more detail. Jordan Love opens 3 for 5 against the defense. Hit Samori Toure on a slant. Pretty fade ball to Henry Pearson down right side. Crosser to Christian Watson. And then missed Romeo Doubs deep and Watson on a corner out. So a few nice plays, a few misses by Love. And then here we have from Paul Denner Jr. says, session of 11 on 11 between Bengals O and Packers D, dominated by Green Bay. Nothing of note outside of one pass to Tyler Boyd up the seam and a nice run by Joe Mixon. Otherwise, a struggle to find any space or success in the pass game. And if Joe Burrow was playing today, I would say this is a pretty big deal. Would show the Packers defense and just sort of their level of play. But considering Joe Burrow isn't playing, I don't think that's quite as much as a feat. Obviously, without Burrow in there, you would hope that the Packers defense will be dominating. And I do wonder if this can be a year the Packers maybe play as a top 10 defense, because last year that was my expectation that the Packers would have a top 10 defense. It did not end off that way. And I think this year, with losing Jaron Reed on the D-line, I think that having Devontae Wyatt in there, who's played really well throughout training camp, him coming into his second year after being a first-round pick from Georgia, and if he can play at an elite level, this Packers defense could take that next step forward. Quay Walker, a middle linebacker, also in year 2. Maybe this is a year the Packers defense can maybe hit those expectations that we had for them coming into next year. If not, that'll be unfortunate, but I think there's a chance here with the improvement on the D-line. Then hear from Steve Palazzolo. Packers QB Alex Magoo with the best pass of the day so far at Packers-Bengals practice. In stride go ball to wide receiver Malik Heath. So right now in the Packers roster, in the past week, the Packers released QB Danny Etling, which means there's Jordan Love, Sean Clifford, and Alex Magoo. And before this practice, most of what I'd heard and seen from reporters about Magoo was that he was somewhat inconsistent. And it still seems to me like, considering the Packers used their 5th-round draft pick on QB Sean Clifford, he seems to me like he's going to be the backup. But Magoo still has a chance, but I think Clifford's still going to be the guy. Then we have here Jordan Love throwing from Steve Palazzolo. Jordan Love throwing underneath quite a bit in team drills. Bengals D taking away downfield throws, and also 2 quick pressures from DJ Reader and Trey Hendrickson. And those were some of the clips floating around Twitter that I saw. Lots of just sort of underneath throws. The Bengals, as Palazzolo said, were doing a good job of sort of, keeping things in check over the top and forcing Love to check down and make those decisions. And I'd much rather see Love check down the ball than, force it into harm's way and force an interception. Then hear from Palazzolo, Christian Watson wide open on a red zone crosser for an easy touchdown against Cam Taylor-Britt. Like last year, Watson's speed too much to handle and utilized well by Packers offense. So Christian Watson is entering year 2, and we saw just how explosive he can be when he really erupted against the Cowboys back in November. And from that point on, he consistently made some nice plays, and we'll see if he can build that connection with Christian Watson. And I think when you have a guy of Christian Watson's explosiveness and his speed, there's going to be plays all season where he's just wide open, where he breaks away deep, even on a crosser, and Love hits him, and Christian Watson takes it the distance. We saw it when Love came in against the Eagles that one game. His touchdown pass, I think it was a crosser to Christian Watson, hits Watson in stride. Watson runs, however many yards, 40, 50 yards, breakaway speed, scores a touchdown. So no doubt that Watson's speed is going to consistently be a problem for opposing defenses, which also should open up things for Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Luke Musgrave, other receivers. Then here from Palazzolo, Mike Hilton with a classic Mike Hilton play. Jordan Love checks to a bubble screen and Hilton jumps it for an interception. So there we have a Jordan Love interception, and at the goal line. And then here from Rob Domofsky, sort of summarizing Love in the red zone. Red zone, Love goes 4 for 8. Touchdown to Watson. Interception by Mike Hilton, who jumped a bubble screen and might have gone 90-plus the other way for a touchdown. So I think so far, if you've watched some of my other videos on Jordan Love, it seems like he's had some really nice plays, and he's also had some not so nice plays, sort of up and down so far in training camp. And I think that once the season starts, we'll really have an idea of what this Packers offense can be, and also too, because it is such a young team, a young starter in Jordan Love, a young receiving core, tight end core. Who knows exactly how long it'll take for them to reach that peak level. It may not even be their first season, but I still think that we'll sort of get to see exactly where the Packers are starting off when the season starts against the Bears, and hopefully we'll see some improvements from there. But still, it's early, it's training camp. I'm not taking these things, and saying, Love is throwing some picks. He's, maybe throwing 50% completion percentage and taking that and running with that. I still think that, we've seen his talent, his athleticism, and honestly, I don't exactly know what Love is going to be. I have confidence in him. I think the Packers have a solid core here, solid receivers, but it's still hard to tell in training camp because, we see Rodgers as well throw picks in training camp, so you never know. Then from Palazzolo, someone asked him, Bakhtiari out there? He said yes, in and out. So Bakhtiari has been dealing with some injuries, or he was dealing with injuries, not this season, at least as us fans have heard and has been reported. There's been no injury. The Packers have just been careful with Bakhtiari. It makes sense because he missed so much time in the past with his knee injury, and maybe they just want to keep him out there and, not really force him to play too many snaps when he doesn't necessarily need to as a veteran. And then, all right, I already said that one. And then here we have so Ryan Wood said he went 5 of 8 for 2 touchdowns, but I saw Matt Schneidman of The Athletic said Love, the one ball was dropped by Jaden Reed for a touchdown. So it could have been 5 for 8, 32 yards and 2 touchdowns in one interception if Jaden Reed didn't drop it. And it has seemed to me from these different reporters that it seems like there's been a good amount of drop passes by like Luke Musgrave, Jaden Reed a little bit, at least here. So that's why it's tough, too, when you look at the completion percentage for Love, because who knows how many of these are like drop passes and things like that. So who knows? I already showed you the scrum there. I already showed you that. And then here we have from Ryan Wood, Jordan Love drops a 51-yard touchdown to Romeo Doubs down right sideline on 3rd and 6 against Cam Taylor-Britt. Didn't miss that deep ball. Let Doubs run under it, and he did the rest. So there we have. Love clearly can hit people deep. He clearly can drop it in for touchdowns. And the question I just have is the consistency. Because the good thing is we know that he has that arm talent. He has that athleticism. He has the ability. We've seen plenty of highlights floating around from training camp of Love, hitting Christian Watson in stride deep. And I think that, it's a positive that we're seeing these nice plays from Love, and we'll see if he can have that consistency once the season starts. And then here we have from Wes Hodquist, Rashawn Gary may have run 6 miles during all these team periods. Every time I look up, he's doing gassers sideline to sideline. So with Gary off the PUP list, we still have about, a month till the season starts. And watching different clips of Gary on the sideline doing individual drills, he seems super explosive and like he's not taking it slow whatsoever. So that sort of makes me think that maybe he will be ready week 1. And considering Wes Hodquist here said he's running gassers, maybe he will. We'll see if the Packers are too nervous to put him out there week 1. But right now it's looking real good. Then here from Sam Monson, the Romeo Doubs thing isn't real against other teams, or is real against other teams as well in camp. Guy's been open consistently. So that's what I'm wondering about is Romeo Doubs, because I know Christian Watson, has gotten the most hype. He was the most productive receiver in his rookie season. But I think that Romeo Doubs could be just as effective in different kind of ways as a Christian Watson, because we heard Matt LaFleur in the offseason talk about how Romeo Doubs reminds him of Devontae Adams in his route running ability. And so I'm really excited to see what Doubs can be. I feel like he's definitely, at least in the NFL landscape, more under the radar than Christian Watson, but he may be just as effective as Christian Watson in 2023. And okay, so apparently there was another fight that just broke out, because I filmed this to get this out there soon, but from Bill Huber, another fight. Jenkins just jacked 98 and is now out of the lineup, and now Jenkins is leaving. So another fight break occurs, and that's pretty interesting. So clearly things are getting heated between these two teams. We'll see if any more things break out. And okay, so as I was scrolling, I actually found a video of the 51-yard touchdown pass to Romeo Doubs. I'll show it to you here, posted by Braden Allen. Here you go. So that was real nice. And we've seen lots of throws like that from Love in this training camp. So hopefully he can keep it up and keep that going forward. So here's some more info on Elgton Jenkins in this fight. Matt Schneidman says Elgton Jenkins versus DJ Reader in a scuffle now with a play far away. Jenkins swings at Reader's head and connects. Jenkins is out of the drill now. Offensive lineman coach Luke Butkus escorts him out. So clearly, players are not keeping their wits about them in this practice, which I guess is a risk of these practices, because I know over the past few years, it seems like when these practices happen, at some point, some kind of fight breaks out. We've even seen it in like certain teams' practices. Travis Kelce took a swing at a guy or something like that in practice. So pretty chippy here in this Bengals and Packers practice. So those are the biggest things from this practice. If anything else goes down that's super big, I'll let you guys know. But that is all I have for today. Thank you for watching. If you want to stay today with all things Packers, feel free to subscribe. I also have a Packers newsletter where I answer questions and other things from time to time, which you can subscribe to in the description down below. But that's it for today, and I'll see you guys next time.